Hi, this is Kurt Barone, and welcome to another edition of Fire Law Roundup.
Okay, very quickly, let's head to FDNY. This is unfortunate, and it is unfortunate, but we had a firefighter who's was retired on 9/11, and like many, went back and volunteered to work on the pile. Got sick, died allegedly as a result of working on the pile from 9/11 related cancer, and unfortunately sues under workers' comp. And again, remember, was not an employee, but I'll discuss that. But sues under workers' comp. The workers' comp board decided, and the third department, which is one of the appellate divisions, one of the four appellate divisions in New York, our second highest court, which is where this will end. But the appellate division decided that, I'm sorry, even if the law applied, you didn't file the required form. And then you do the right thing of on your website of putting up, here's the form if you need to. I don't know why that happened. I know a ton of, mostly now deceased, even recently as a few days ago, I know a ton of persons who, died, but they were all given good counseling by their employers or other people. Maybe I'm thinking what happened to try to excuse this, that they didn't file the form on time, thus losing their right to benefits. Maybe it was because of this. The individual wasn't working, again, for the FDNY. It was a volunteer.
I think that's the key. Yeah.
Yeah. And the volunteer may not have had access to all the information, and a ton of it went out. All the information that went out to the 911 pile workers, from construction companies and all these million different companies. There were a ton of resources, maybe because this person didn't have the link that they forgot to file the form.
Our friend Dave Fischler is all over this, and I thought about having him come on just to help us better understand this, because he's been really spearheading a lot of this stuff. Dave's an attorney in New York. He's actually semi-retired now in Florida, but he still is handling a lot of this. But we have this federal fund that was set up, and it's supposed to work sort of in conjunction with workers' comp. But in a normal situation, you have somebody who's on duty, they're on FDNY, or they're on a neighboring department or a USAR team or whatever it may be. So they're clearly working, and there's no question that they're working. And, workers' comp law is going to apply. The fund then will backfill or pay workers' comp, or however it works, whether you get the check directly from the fund or however that works. So that's fine. The problem is someone like this gentleman who was retired, and he volunteered, which is fine. They allowed that to happen. That's fine. There's no workers' comp coverage. So it's a gap. And what the state legislature did was create a loophole. And they actually refer to it as a loophole in the decision. But they created this special scenario where you will qualify, even though you weren't employed, you will qualify, but you have to fill out this form prior to your passing away.
Right.
And he didn't do that. And I know there was some kind of nasty comments that some people posted in social media about this, that kind of thinking that the powers that be don't care about firefighters. And I think it's a little. The legislature actually went over and above, I think, to create this exception. But here's why I really want to talk about this for a minute. If you are someone who volunteered, and I know in Rhode Island we had a number of people, and I don't endorse this, but they self-deployed. And I don't, every one of us wanted to go to New York on 9/11. Every firefighter I know wanted to go. You don't self-deploy. You shouldn't self-deploy. That's not helpful. But if you are one of the people self-deployed, or you went as some sort of a volunteer unit where you weren't covered under workers' comp, you have until September 11th of 2022 to file that World Trade Center, a WTC 12 form with the New York Workers' Comp Division. And if you don't do that, you're going to lose the protection that the legislature created. So please, I've got a copy of the form. You can download it. It's got the instructions. Don't let this go. Get it done.
I had somebody ask me about it, and what they've asked me a while ago is, but I don't yet have cancer. I said, I don't care. Preserve your rights.
This is documenting that you responded.
Right.
That's all it's saying. It's not saying that I got cancer and it's from that. What it's saying is I responded, and therefore, if I get cancer in the future, I'm protected.
Right.
That's all it is.
And look, the government has a good reason to do this, and we'll move on, but the government has a good reason to do this. 50 years later is too hard to document whether you were really there or not, and what you were doing there, whether you were actually exposed. So 20 years is virtually unheard of anyway. I mean, we've seen other examples, maybe with Agent Orange and some other things, but 20 years is a pretty good gift. And look, there is nothing I'm going to do ever to praise this state legislature, especially with what's happening now in New York State.
Wait a minute. I thought you had family members in the legislature.
They're dead. And that was when the Republicans were in charge, but not making this a political show. In any event, I just, New York has gone above and beyond for this by extending the period of registration to 20 plus years. And again, even if you don't think you're sick, file the form. I think that's got to be the point we're making. And as you said, you only got a couple of months.
Yeah.